For more than a decade, FTI has strived to become the leader in the aftermarket performance transmission and converter industry. We've joined forces with McLeod driveline components under the leadership of Top Fuel Funny Car pilot Paul Lee, and now have a larger distribution network, more resources, and more power. Come see us in the pits and ask how you can join the FTI family. It's not cheating, it is the competitive edge.
I'm Steve Torrence, four-time NHRA Top Fuel World Champion. And when me and these Capco boys win races, we go straight WFO.
It's time for an inside look at the most powerful motorsport on the planet. WFO Radio, NHRA Nitro. This is WFO Radio.
Hey everybody, WFO Radio is back. 2023 is off and running, and we have got an NHRA Nitro show, the likes of which we have never seen. We're over 10 years on the air here, folks. Over 10 years, and we have never done what we are about to do today. The voice of the National Hot Rod Association, Alan Reinhart, is in Bahrain, and we're going to get his take on what's going over there. Why is he there? What's going on? What time is it? How hot is it? All of these questions will be answered just seconds from now. We got a little business we got to handle, though, right at the start. Listen, guys, you know, we got sponsors, we got people who make it possible, but sometimes it's about growing the audience. So I want everybody to get on board and help us with this one, okay? We're real close to a threshold on our YouTube channel. You know, we got to grow. We got to get over the top of these major milestones. So if you have yet to subscribe to the YouTube channel, we want you to subscribe right now. Click the bell. Never miss a show in all of 2023, all our live stream stuff. And that is where you'll see a lot of the Joe works on his own car engine coming together. So hopefully someday in the future, he can go super street racing. So click subscribe, the bell, smash it, be ready. And that's a great place to comment on the show, your thoughts on who you want to see here on WFO in 2023. In addition to the winners, we have got great things coming tomorrow, 12 noon on Wednesday, Eastern time. Top alcohol funny car world champion, Doug Gordon, going to join us. And then on Thursday, it'll be a little pre-recorded action because I'll be headed to the Engine Performance Expo in Johnson City, Tennessee. Top dragster world champion, Jeremy Hancock. So Parade of Champions beginning with our Lucas Oil Series this week. Oh, look, they love the Tankers Elite Pontiac shirt. Yeah, I got to rep the Pontiac guys. I'm feeling it. I'm getting excited. I'm starting to move stuff around in the garage. I'm starting to feel good about things going. NHRA Drag Racing coming back. It is super exciting. But the people who make it possible for me to do this, to go WFO, someday you're going to need these guys. And if the day is today, here they are. Fog it. This is world-class engine protection. You got to fog it down after you race it, regardless of where you are, but especially in Florida and those climates where there's a lot of condensation. You put it in the trailer and you've got condensation inside the cylinders. It is terrible. You got to use Fog It. It's so inexpensive for what you're trying to protect, right? The like cost benefit evaluation is very spot on. Go to fogit.com and get yours today. Every race car trailer, every garage should have some. Works on firearms as well. FTI Performance Transmissions and Torque Converters. You heard a little bit about them at the very start of the show. Back on WFO. They're located in DeLand. And if you're getting your transmission serviced, you're getting your torque converter redone, or you're looking for one for the first time, FTIperformance.com. Total Seal Piston Rings, the leader in ring seal technology. The Engine Performance Expo is Friday and Saturday. Go to YouTube, subscribe. Just go and search Engine Performance Expo on YouTube. Right after you've subscribed to WFO Radio, you can subscribe to them. You can watch the live stream. It is absolutely free. Who's going to be there, Joe? Like, who's going to be worth watching? Jason Line is going to be part of the Engine Performance Expo. Greg and Aaron Stanfield going to be part of the Engine Performance Expo. Ben Strader from EFI University working on the build engine, getting everything right in the tune and the EFI. You're going to want to watch it. And really, it's all an exercise to learn more about vital things like cylinder wall finish and ring seal. Go to totalseal.com to find out more information. Phillips Connect. These guys keeping cars and trucks and trailers over the road connected with their smart trailer technology. Absolutely. And if you've got a fleet of vehicles or know someone with a fleet of vehicles or interested in getting connected, keeping things on time, keeping things safer for you, your loads, your drivers, and everybody connected to your business. Email me, joe@wforadio.com, and I'll put you together with folks from Phillips Connect. Also, Bernie's.com. Josh Hart getting a lot of pub. Josh Hart stories up on NHRA.com. New cars, multiple chassis, year 3 of NHRA, year 2 of full-time NHRA Top Fuel Racing. But really, Bernie's is the business that launched it all. Go to the website, bernies.com, or hit their social media and follow them, and just check out their inventory. Classic cars for sale. They also do consignment, so if you've got one for sale, you can get together with Bernie's. Check them out, Josh Hart, bernies.com. Later on in the show, I'll tell you about samtech.edu. I'll tell you about Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School, and I'll tell you about my man, just had a birthday, Marvin Rodak, 817-924-6821. People are like, coffee, is it good? Is it really good? It is really good. And then the Patreons. It is January, and so we're going to be doing our big Patreon push. I'm going to hit you with a lot of pressure. It's going to be a very high pressure sales pitch, but it's going to be after Alan Reinhart later on in the show. No, we're going to give you stuff, right? If you join for the year, you will get cool stuff. Is this the cool stuff you're going to get? Maybe not. Maybe not. But we're going to tell you all about it. But right now, we got to go out to Bahrain, right? These guys out in Bahrain. Alan Reinhart's in Bahrain. What are you doing in Bahrain, Alan Reinhart?
Well, that's not really where I am. I'm in my closet. I just made a new backdrop. Next week I'm going to be coming to you from Adelaide, and the week after that, maybe someplace in Canada. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense that you would be all over the world. But since you are mentioning, many international destinations, though, I do want to, we always start off with like the most serious and unfortunate news in this case. Our Australian drag racing brothers and sisters suffering a devastating incident, the loss of a first and foremost, from what my Drag Race Australia friends tell me, we talked about it a lot on the Ignition podcast, a great human being, Sam Fennick, veteran door slammer racer, got loose in the lights, went over the wall, total tragedy. And the worldwide drag racing community is, mourning this terrible situation. And, I hate to start a show like that, but that is probably the most gripping news that we're going to have to deal with. So sad.
Yeah, it's awful. We've talked about it before. The fact that, what we do can be dangerous. When you're driving cars at the rate of speed that we're driving cars, and I use we, obviously the general, everybody that's involved in the industry, sometimes bad things happen in a hurry. The most heartbreaking part of the whole thing is the race was over. I mean, a red light. And so, you're down there, you're still trying to make a clean run, you're trying to get the information you're trying to do, and Joe, as you mentioned, the car just made a violent move in the lights and ended up going over the wall. But, just best wishes to his family and his friends and everybody down there. Anytime it happens, it doesn't matter where in the world you are, the entire brotherhood feels it, because we all understand, I go out to Tucson Drag with my street car. When I put my seatbelts on, I understand that there's some risk involved and some bad things can happen. So anytime that it does, it definitely affects all of us.
Yeah, and the helplessness that everyone must feel, when you're there, you're living it. And again, we've got Matt Clark from Australia, Torque Calibration Services, is a big supporter of our Ignition podcast, and he's a longtime drag racer. And he had an incident last year, tagged the wall, but he's been giving us a new understanding of the Drag Racing Australia scene, right? Like, putting personalities and characters to these names that I've heard. I got to do an interview with Reed Racing as part of Industry Week a couple of weeks ago with Clay and Jimmo. Jimmo was super excited to go down there. He's down there to run and hang with Reed Racing. And it really is this international drag racing community. I haven't met all of these people. I've certainly met some of them. And it affects us all. It is just devastating. It's terrible. But what it really does for me is make sure that we keep safety and maintenance. Not that had anything to do with this. This was just a wild top-end incident. Terrible. I'm sure everybody has seen the video. But let's try our best this year to make sure that we can avoid these things as best as is possible.
Well, and, it's a brotherhood, being over here. I've seen a lot of racers that I've never seen before and met a lot of people that I had never met before. But when you start looking at the cars and talking, even though there's a little bit of a language barrier for me, they don't have any problem for me, but the passion, you can see the passion when a guy opens the hood, or when and he's telling you about his car and he's showing you stuff and he's doing, world around. And everybody knows, as I said, the risk. You put on a helmet, you're admitting that I'm doing something that has at least some kind of a risk factor. And when things do go wrong, it's just awful. And the whole world feels it. The whole world sends their best wishes. And as I said, we all understand that it could happen at any time, and when it does, we all feel the pain.
Yeah, and watching the NFL community go through their situation with Damar Hamlin, and he's back a week ago, we were wondering what it would be like. He's out of the hospital, and he's in a new hospital back in Buffalo, as I understand it. But stood up, jumped when they scored a touchdown. Eliminating the Patriots from playoff contention, allowing the Miami Dolphins to get an opportunity to make the playoffs for the first time since 2016. Not that I care about that stuff, but just the emotions of stuff, the emotions that are connected to sport. Our motorsports community, though, we feel it. And to watch another sport go through it, it was I don't know, it was interesting. It was different to see them go through something that we've gone through so many times. It's sad that we have experience.
I'm sorry, Joe, but I think that's it. I think that we've gone through it so many times, and I'm certainly not downplaying how difficult it is to play and do well in the NFL. And I understand the risk, and I understand some of this stuff, but the level of danger, somebody dying on a football field in the NFL is not something that happens on a regular basis. But somebody dying on a racetrack does happen from time to time, and certainly not a weekly thing, but once every 5 years, it's still a regular basis. Nothing like that has happened in the NFL in 50 years. So them not knowing, I think, as a community, how we're supposed to react. If it's such a, oh my God, this really happened. A guy had a cardiac arrest on the field. This really happened. Now what? But you could see how they all pulled together going through it for the first time. And I think even though, as the racing community, and not just drag racing, whether it's us, whether it's NASCAR, whether it's sprint cars, whether it's open wheel, it doesn't matter. The racing community understands that feeling, and when somebody goes through it, we still pull together just as strongly as they did over there.
Yeah, absolutely, and we will continue, and it will get stronger as we grow, and it's just something we never want to see, and we should really try to avoid. But moving forward, let's keep it happy. And that, you're in Bahrain, right? I expected you to be at the Chili Bowl or something. I'm going to be somewhere. Maybe he's going to be at the Chili Bowl. No, you're in Bahrain. And everybody thinks that's cool. I can't get past, I'm about to turn 50, Alan. I am still amazed by the technology. I know the kids out there could care less, right? You just pull out your phone and, your buddy is in Bahrain and you can live stream it to YouTube, and it's no big deal. To me, I am still amazed, and everybody seems to agree with me, how this is a big deal. You're live streaming from a drag strip in Bahrain, and everybody is saying what's up out there. I think it's cool. You've sent a couple of pictures. Tell us about the place.
Well, the place is spectacular. The Bahrain International Circuit, that's the drag tower. That is the VIP tower for the Formula One road course. They actually can run 4 different configurations of road course here. When the Formula One racers came here in 20, when so much of the world was shut down for COVID, but they could race here, they actually raced 2 races here on 2 different racetracks. Very different racetracks. They just changed the configuration and turned them loose. The drag strip is right in the middle of it. On the other side of the drag strip, the picture that you're looking at there was taken from a VIP suite trackside. The other side of the track is one of the back stretches and one of the sections of road course for the Formula One, or for the road course here. But they have a big karting track here. They have a big drifting area here. They had a huge drift event here last night. I couldn't tell you how many cars were there, but we were working on race cars in the shop over here and listening to them over there burning up tires until at least midnight. So this is a very busy place. You consider the fact that their season is fairly short because it is simply overwhelmingly hot in the summertime, and there's nothing you can do in the summertime. So they've got to make hay, as it were, when they can. But they have north of 320 events a year here of one form or another. The World Dart Championships, like Bullseye, are taking place here at the Bahrain International Circuit coming up next weekend. Now, this is the back porch of the VIP suite where I am. You can see the big tower in the background, but the purple structures up top, that's just part of the superstructure here for the VIP suites that go from about 60 feet or maybe 100 to, I'm sitting at the 660 and I'm about in the middle of it. They go down about 1,000 feet or 1,100. On the bottom, that's the other side from the walkway where I took the pictures. On the bottom, and if you look down towards the bottom of the picture, those are garages. Race teams actually, like inside garages with power, with air, with everything you need down there, trackside. And then up top and out in front of the suites, they have grandstand seating, and I didn't get out front to take a picture of that, but I can maybe walk outside here and show you in a little bit. We tried this before we went on the air, and when I go outside and close the door, I lose a little bit of Wi-Fi signal. But the drag strip is right behind us. We're doing kind of a little re-prep in between classes, but I expect to hear some cars going screaming by us here in a little bit. Spectacular facility. The place was built almost 20 years ago, but if you'd walk in and look around, it feels like it opened last year. Everything is very sharp. Everything is very clean. They keep on top of the paint and the maintenance, and the place is just amazing. You walk in the gates, you'd never know how long that they have been racing here, but they take a lot of pride in it. And I was very fortunate. I got invited to have dinner with Sheikh Abdullah the other night, who is the guy behind the Bahrain 1 Pro Mod racing team. And he talked quite a bit about the racetrack. I also had dinner with Sheikh Salam, who is in charge of the racetrack. And he was telling me about, he says, we'd love to take credit for it, but he said, we have a tremendous team, and part of being an employee, part of being involved here is you better be enthusiastic about it. If your idea is, I'm going to show up at 9 o'clock and I'm going to leave at 5 o'clock and I'm going to, sit in the back and do nothing, you're not welcome. You're not wanted. You need to be here. You need to be enthusiastic about wanting to make sure that your racetrack is spectacular. And it runs through everybody I've met. From the people that come by and, empty the trash at the end of the day, to the people that are just coming by and checking on you. Do you need this? Do you need that? Is there anything we can do? The guys at the front gate, the security guys who come in every morning, big smile, welcome back, good to see you. But the place, everybody here really takes pride in their facility. It starts from the top, but it certainly permeates all the way through.
Who's doing the track prep? Is it one of their guys? Is it one of our guys who flew over? I know that Larry Crisp sometimes goes there.
Yeah, that's Larry Crisp. I couldn't remember his name. I remember some guy that works at a little track. No, Larry is over here. But Larry really is overseeing their staff. He is here. And, he's the one that supplies the equipment, the stuff that they use. And obviously, when it comes to manufacturing, anybody that's in the track prep business knows who Larry Crisp is. But he's here and just kind of oversees. But again, they've got a really good staff. They've got really good local people here that understand what needs to be done and know how to do it and are not afraid to. Everybody here seems like they're kind of empowered. If somebody goes, this is something that needs to get taken care of, you don't have to get, permission from here and there and check it's just, let's do it. Let's get this taken care of. Let's make it happen. And again, that attitude seems to be, throughout the entire community. Everybody I've run into at the racetrack has that same, is there anything you need? What can we do better? And it's just a wonderful place to visit.
Exactly. Well, Jolie Stanfield is sad about you being there because she can't see the CUDA in the background. That's a bit of a bummer, but hey, what are you going to do? I'm really good at spending other people's money, and I just think about back in the day, like things like the Beatles coming to America. I'm thinking about John Force going to Australia the first time, like these things, like exporting to people who would never get the chance to see it. Like, we've got these great tracks over there. You're at one of them. I know Hockenheim has got a track, obviously Santa Pod, others down in Australia. To put together like an NHRA showcase with our biggest stars. You throw Brittany Force's top fueler in a Connie Coletta jet with Langdon and, like that kind of thing, like send over 4 cars. I don't know how we would do it. We have so much equipment that we have to carry along, right? So it's not like you can throw it all in a container, but it has been a really long time since some sort of world tour thing happened during the winter break. And it seems like we're due. Now that the pandemic is kind of over in most places, I would love to see our greats go to a place like that and showcase and be there and just be there for the betterment and the growth of the sport of drag racing? I know I just spent like $1 million, but or more, but right, it's not my money. Can we do that?
Well, could it be done? Absolutely. As a matter of fact, that was a very interesting topic of conversation the other night, could something like that be done? And Sheikh Salman was really focused on, if they were going to do that, he would like to do it with the pro modified category, simply because pro mod really is a worldwide class, and there are a number of pro mods here just in this part of the country. You know, Abu Dhabi's got a tremendous drag strip, Qatar's got a tremendous drag strip. They could put together a Middle East contingent. They could bring a United States contingent, potentially a European or even, you know, an Australian contingent, and get them here, because pro modified is something that really is kind of worldwide. You know, there isn't a nitro funny car class in Europe. There isn't, I don't believe, a specific nitro funny car class in Australia. There are top fuel cars, but Pro Mod is something that really is worldwide, and that was something that the Sheikh, because I think of their hands-on involvement in the category, that's something that he was very adamant about. You know, they've kind of put out some feelers and talked about, could that be put together? Could something be done? It certainly could. It would just be a matter of making sure it works with everybody's schedule, making sure everybody's available, making sure, you know, you obviously couldn't do something like that during the NHRA season if you wanted the NHRA people to be here. Trying to do it during the Australian season, if you want them to be here, would be very difficult during the European season. So is there a time that it could work for everybody? And I don't think you could bring everybody over here just for a weekend exhibition. I think it would have to be, you know, at least, say, a month, where you could have 3 races, you could have 4 races, and put on a little mini series. But anyway, that was a kind of a lively topic of conversation at dinner the other night. And I don't know if anybody saw, if you follow me on Twitter, I did a little panoramic view from the top of where we had dinner the other night, and said that the dinner was even better than the view. And actually the company and conversation was better than both of them. It was just a wonderful evening, sitting down and you know, making some new friends and talking with people that are very, very passionate about drag racing.
No, that's great. And it's great. In Formula One, I have been a fan since before it was popular in the United States of America. My point is that was kind of like an international motorsport trying to grow in America. There is no reason we shouldn't try to grow the sport of drag racing as best as we can outside of America. There is a tremendous audience of people who like cars that go fast, cars that are loud. All right, let's showcase ours. We can do so much better job of it. And that's all potential growth. It's all potential growth. We gotta do it. Captain Dave is out there, Alan. Captain Dave,
who lives here and isn't here this week.
What are the odds?
Apparently, one of us has really bad timing. No, he and I communicated earlier in the week about potentially getting together, and it just didn't work out.
He says to ask you about go-karts and the Summit guys 7 years ago.
Oh, yeah. That was actually, we were talking about that. I believe it was 2011. But oh yeah, we came over here, and Eddie Krawick just used me up on the go-karts.
Well, you know, the power to weight situation with Eddie and you, it's a little different. You got some LBs on.
You know, Eddie and Andrew both are pretty darn good go-kart racers, and I don't think power to weight was the only thing that I was lacking.
Well, yeah, I guess that makes sense. All right, since you're there, and maybe you can break some news, or maybe you talked about this. Stevie Fast partnering with Sydney Frigo, Art of Inco Racing down there. He has always had this long-standing relationship with Bahrain 1. So I maybe I shouldn't assume that that's over in the past, but maybe it is. And who and what is the Bahrain 1 involvement for 2023, if you're allowed to share that?
Well, I honestly don't know that it's over, and it's my understanding Steve was supposed to be here this week with the rest of the team. He couldn't travel simply because he just had his neck surgery, and he just can't sit on an airplane, can't be in a stationary position that long. But I do believe he's still going to be involved. You know, obviously Justin Bond and Khaled Al-Balushi, both of whom are here. So, you know, nothing official has been announced yet, but I do believe that Bahrain is still going to have at least some sort of presence with Steve. That's great.
And, you know, that's why I know about them. And just watching the growth and the participation in the sport of drag racing has been great news. All right, let's focus a little bit on the good old US of A. and some of the storylines that are happening here, I've been kind of going back and forth, just trying to figure out testing schedules, right? Like, where is everyone going to be? I know that there we go. We got a little sound effects going on in the background.
Yeah, that's driving by.
Just driving by. Very cool. But a new start to the season in 2023, right? We're starting in Gainesville. That changes everything as far as testing scheduling. We had the big thing in Phoenix last year. This year, there's going to be some testing prior to the Gator Nationals, post Baby Gators. So there's going to be some nitro testing the week of the event that is the Gator Nationals. But I would imagine people are going to test before that. Like, if you wait for that only test, I feel like you're behind. But what's your take?
Well, no, they definitely are. The big teams, some of them are going to Florida. Some of them, I understand, are planning to go out west. But there just simply isn't enough time. You know, if you go down there, the Baby Gators are going to run through Sunday. You figure Monday's a move-in day. Tuesday, Wednesday, you could potentially be on the racetrack. That's just not enough time. You know, if you want to make a couple of runs and shake the cobwebs off, okay. But if you legitimately want to come in and test new clutch discs, or if you legitimately come in and you've got, maybe a different engine combination, a different camshaft combination, a different something, you need to make more than just 2 or 3 runs. So guys are going to be down in Florida early, doing some testing down there. And as I said, I understand some of the teams are going to be headed west as well, but I don't believe that's going to be open to the public. I don't know about the Florida stuff as of yet.
Okay. Yeah, very interesting. NHRA just posted.
There's probably already been pro stock guys on the racetrack. They never quit testing.
Yes. Well, exactly. And I've heard about some tests that are going on. I don't know if I am at liberty to reveal those, but people they're getting ready, right? They're getting geared up. NHRA has just posted a story about exhibition races for Factory X. Couple of non-points exhibition races coming up at for Factory X, and I think presented by Holly, by the way. That is a category that I think everyone is just super excited. The exhibition events will be where? Charlotte and Bristol. So for fans that are trying to plan where to be, there'll be Factory X exhibition races at Charlotte and Bristol, which is kind of cool.
It is, and I have absolutely zero inside information. I knew nothing until, I knew that was coming up today on NHRA.com, but I checked just before we went on the air, and it hadn't been there yet. But it would not surprise me as more and more cars get built to see that schedule potentially expand. I don't think if we ended up where there was 8 guys and they said, hey, we'd like to go to Topeka and make some runs. We'd like to. I don't see that being turned down. So they've got 2 of them on the schedule. I think that's great, but I won't be the least bit surprised if that schedule expands a little bit.
Exactly. Bob Bender is out there saying that you're his hero. Returning to Gainesville, bringing my welly boots. Yeah, no, we're going to get lucky with the weather this year in Gainesville, I feel like.
I sure hope so. And, once we get Gainesville, then it's off to the races. They'll head out west and, Phoenix and Pomona and Vegas on 3 races in 4 weeks, and we're just going to dive right into it. So even though it's going to be a little bit longer before we get started, once we do get started, man, it's going to be hang on. Exactly.
So looking at some of the players in Top Fuel, I've been thinking a little bit about, and I know there's some major announcements coming in the next couple of weeks that everyone is really going to like, but I just think about the changes that happened at Tony Schumacher, who finished 12th in the point standings. They come back. Tony inks this deal with Skag. Joe Maynard buys the team. From this time last year to where we are this year, going out and getting Mike Neff back, bringing on those guys. I don't think there is another team that covered more ground in the last 1 year than Tony Schumacher, considering the moves they made at the end of the year. And I think it shows you that Tony is not content to just be in the cockpit of a race car. He wants to get out there, mix it up, and get another title. Not that his career needs validating by any means, but another title would definitely it would change the story. To go away and come back, it would change the story.
What have you done for me lately?
Right.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Aren't you the guy that used to win? What have you done for me lately? No, I think, Tony is a guy who wants to compete at only the highest level. He wants to win. He wants to be in the mix. And even though, they certainly had a little bit better performance toward the end of the season, I think that, Phil Schuler coming back in with a fresh set of eyes. Sometimes I think you just end up with the forest for the trees thing, right? A new guy comes in and goes, hey, this isn't tight, and that can get you pointed in the right direction. I also think the most highly motivated team out there is Coletta, and that's all 3 cars, because you look at the personnel they have, the budget they have, the resources they have, and then look at what they did. And I think they are very, very motivated to get back out there and get into contention. Just a couple of years ago, that funny car won a championship. And, Alan Johnson and Brian Houston coming over, there were a lot of people that thought they'd just wave their magic wand and that would be that. It certainly didn't go that way. I don't think anybody expected them to go the season without parking it in the winner's circle. But that team is extremely motivated to get back on track as well.
Yeah, well, year 2 of Alan Johnson, Brian Houston. I had a couple of conversations with them during this season, as you did, and you're right. The expectations that they would just make things right doesn't take into account that things take time and parts and pieces and systems and personalities and training and all that. Year 2, with this prolonged extended off season, they're going to come out of the box. Like if they're not ready by that point, right? If they don't have it the way they want it to by March 2023, I would have to understand why that wouldn't be possible. And I'm sure there's reasons, but I'm excited to see what they're capable of, because this is going to be the year of Alan Johnson stuff, whereas last year was the year of transitioning from old to new.
Well, there's just so much. I mean, everybody's got their agenda, right? Brittany and David Grubnick aren't going anywhere. You look at the way that car ran, and I think David Grubnick reminds me a lot of Alan Johnson from the growth pattern. For everything that Alan has done in his career, I don't know how many people remember that when they made the transition to Top Fuel, he went 5 races before he ever qualified. And then once he learned how to qualify, okay, great. They went a year where they qualified number 1 a lot, had a really fast car, only won 1 race the entire year. They had learned how to go fast, then needed to learn how to win. And I think that's the same thing with David Grubnick. When he came in, he made some great runs from time to time. And then he got to the point where he had a really, really fast race car, but didn't win a lot of races. And he's gotten to the point now where he's learned how to win. And I don't believe there's anything changing over there. I don't think they're changing a person on the team. I know they're not changing parts, pieces, and all that kind of stuff. So they're going to be very motivated to come back out and show that, hey, look, we can do this more than once. Steve Torrence and Capco boys are certainly motivated, because after 4 in a row, they went into the beginning of the year going, okay, guys, we get it. Okay, we're taking a step back. We're trying to learn some new stuff. We're trying to go forward by going backwards a little bit. But I don't think they expected to struggle as much as they did during the year. So they've got a lot of motivation to come back out here and make it happen. I think, Rick Ware's team was making some noise at the end of the year. I think they've got some motivation to get their new owner in the winner's circle for the first time. You mentioned Josh Hart. He's made a tremendous investment to come out here and make sure that they're ready to compete. And you just go top to bottom. You look at Tony Stewart, that dragster, even though they were starting basically from scratch and they knew that they were going to have a steep learning curve, they got it into the winner's circle at Denver. But I don't think that, I think Neil Straussby would be the first one to tell you we expected to be a little bit further ahead at the end. We didn't expect to win 6 races coming in. They knew, but I think they expected to be a little bit further ahead. And they've had some extra time now to kind of regroup and go over and check. So I think that's going to be another team that's very motivated to come out. It's going to be fun to watch this year. And, I'm a professional spectator, so I like fun to watch.
Yeah, well, it's so exciting to think about what lies ahead. Last year at this time, I said, best year ever of NHRA drag racing, and certainly was one of the, I don't know if it was we'd have to debate and argue about it, but it was certainly one of the, and the funny car category kind of led that, with so many cars being at the top of their game, wanting for nothing, right in the pocket of where they want to be, and going out there and doing it. It looks like Top Fuel is going to be there this year as well. You already mentioned Brittany and Austin Prock. They got there with that team, right? Tobler's gone, but they're going to be able to keep on going. Antron, first year of as a team owner, he got to where he needed to be. Justin Ashley's clearly good. Mike Salinas is good. The Capco team, of course. You mentioned Clay. They got better. So who's the weak team of the 12 cars in Top Fuel? And yet they got to compete each other. against each other, and they're going to reseed at the end of last year, or the end of next year, and someone is going to be at the bottom of that list of 12, regardless of how much better they got in this offseason. And that just shows you what's happening in the sport, how much intensity is coming through all of it. But Blake has a question, Alan. He wants to know what time it is. What time is it in Bahrain over there?
It is currently 9:35.
9:35. It's 1:35 Eastern time here on the East Coast. What is the temperature out there right now, Alan?
It's actually cold here. It's about 60 degrees, which wouldn't be bad, except it's got a pretty stiff breeze out there right now. So it's chilly and breezy tonight. They've been running, this time of year, the highs are in the mid 60s or so, and the lows are in the upper 50s. It's the temperature swing here is kind of crazy. The other day we had Sunday, I believe, the overnight low was 62 and the daytime high was 65.
Oh, okay.
But from a testing and learning standpoint, it's interesting. It's kind of like, when I was fortunate enough to go to Qatar a few years ago and was over there for a couple of weeks, but you can be here for 4 or 5 days and the density altitude is not going to vary 300 feet. So going out and running day after day after day when you have the opportunity, because again, the place is really busy. The drag strip isn't necessarily open every day because there are days when there are just simply other things booked. But you can come over here and make a lot of runs and be able to learn in very similar conditions and not have to go through geez, we ran good when it was, 65 degrees, but when it was 85 degrees, now, was that blower really better, or was that torque converter really what we were looking to do? But when the weather stays consistent, you can learn a lot back to back, and that's what Khaled Abelushi and Justin Bond are taking advantage of.
Yeah, and the guys, I remember a couple of years ago, Mike Janis went over there and had a really good test session for 40 days, made a ton of runs, and came back over here and had great success. So we'll keep track of those guys. Somebody out there is obviously a comp racer. Really hope the new Factory X guys run with us in comp this year. I'm guessing that's David Eaton. I don't know for sure, though. What about that? The Factory X cars can run in comp starting when?
I would assume starting in Gainesville. I don't know that for sure, but if there is a class and a rules package in place, then they should be able to run wherever they want to. I'm not sure how much of that you'll see, maybe some, if the guys come out and test and tune. It might be more of a situation like the Factory Showdown guys do, like I almost said Constant Aviation, but no, it's FlexJet.
FlexJet, Factory Showdown.
I think, a lot of them would come out and run at the regional events and use it as a test session, use it as a test and tune before the Nationals. I think we may see more of that probably than we will see them at the Nationals.
Justin has got a question, and I've asked people, if you got a question for Alan, put it up. We got him a couple more minutes. We're not going to keep him as long as is normal.
No, I'm good. They run here till midnight, so I'm good.
Oh, there you go. Do you have official responsibilities there, or are you just a tourist?
Today I'm just a tourist, but I've been hanging out doing some stuff with the team. I do believe I'm going to have some microphone duty later on in the week when we get into actual racing. At least I sure hope so. I'm looking forward to it. Absolutely.
Justin says, and this is like an old school question, right? Like, this is how I would go into the Gator Nationals in 1985, driving up there with my dad. Like, these are the questions we would ask. How low do you think Top Fuel will run this year? Is it 359 possible? Like, 360s is already happening. The record is 362, so we're right there. But what about that, Alan? A 359, should that be on our radar? I felt like Grubnick was, I don't know, maybe feeling it this past year in the right conditions. Should we be thinking about that? Because I think that world would turn backwards on its axis.
Well, I think a lot of that comes down to, as you just said, conditions. It's certainly, I don't see it happening regularly. Could it happen one time? Maybe. Potentially last year in Gainesville, the conditions were there. If it wasn't raining, but the density, altitude and stuff, everything was good. Getting the weather conditions correct and having enough track temperature to make it happen, it would take a pretty close to perfect run to make it happen. I won't fall over out of my chair if it does, but I also, I won't be surprised or at least a bit disappointed if it doesn't. I think what we're going to see is more cars begin to run the mid 360s, but with the timing retarder set the way it is now, with the rules set the way they are now, it just makes it very difficult to pick up a whole lot of performance. There's certainly not going to be a leaps and bounds gain.
Yeah. Angel wants to know, about Vance and Hines. Any chance Vance and Hines offers Karen Stouffer a ride? She's a great driver and strong at the light.
No. If Karen Stouffer wanted to be out there, she would. She didn't leave because of budget. She didn't leave because of performance. She didn't leave because her team was lacking anything. She left because she's been doing it 26 years. And I think just decided that was enough. I wouldn't be surprised to see Karen make a cameo appearance here or there, especially since, stop me if you've heard this, Jerry Savoy says he's not going to run the full season. So if Karen wanted to come out and run, say, Sonoma, maybe she'd like to come run Seattle since she's never run there and the bikes are going to be there. I do believe that Jerry would be more than happy to field a motorcycle for her. But I think if she wanted to be out there full time, as great an opportunity as Vance and Hines is, I don't think that it's a huge step up from where she was. Again, Jerry has resources, Jerry has horsepower, Jerry has support from Vance and Hines. I think if she wanted to be there, she would be.
Yeah, I agree. And Karen told me at the finals very specifically that she and Gary are going to be mentoring young racers. So she will be at the track sometimes, that they want to give back and they want to do projects with young racers coming up. And, travel, it's tough. People see Karen in Gainesville and they see Karen in Vegas and they see Karen, and getting there is it's a challenge. It's a strain. So they're going to take a little time off. Since you mentioned White Alligator.
She should, however, she should be forced to come to Gainesville and defend her championship.
I agree with that. I just like the word forced. She should be forced.
Reject her resignation. You didn't give us 2 weeks notice, so you have to go to Gainesville.
So we've been working on the month of January for WFO. I already mentioned at the start of the show, tomorrow, Doug Gordon, 12 noon, everybody. If you're a fan of the alcohol cars, it's such a great story. 12 noon tomorrow. We're going to be live on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, all the different places. It's going to be great. Thursday, Jeremy Hancock, our top dragster world champ. We're going to be playing an interview. It will not be live, but we will do that interview with him on Wednesday and then play it back for you on Thursday. But we are already ahead. Next week, White Alligator Racing. This is the 18th on Wednesday at 12 noon. Tim Kalungian, Jerry, Chase Van Sant, and their to-be-named driver for the other bike for the rest of the year is going to be announced. And they told me that they will be announcing it publicly on WFO. There's a week to go, so maybe it could get leaked out, whatever. But so it's going to be White Alligator Racing Day on Wednesday, a week. It's Alan Reinhart, guys. I don't know, Alan. You're kind of big for a pro stock motorcycle.
Come on, I've been losing weight.
You have.
What do you think I've been doing that for?
If you cut your legs off at your knees, you'll be the perfect size.
Having said that, they feed you really, really well over here. So I'm not sure that my scale is going to be happy with me when I get home.
Priorities, but we'll be learning a lot about White Alligator Racing. Hey, I sent out a tweet just to try to capture a trend about In-N-Out Burger moving to Tennessee. I said we'll be talking about it, so let's talk about it for 1 second. Hey, Alan, In-N-Out Burger is moving to Tennessee, another new state for the West Coast chain that is a new NHRA marketing partner. Isn't that exciting?
It is. I'm actually a little surprised, and I'd be curious to know. I mean, not that it's any of my business, but they have always stayed regionally close because their whole deal is fresh, right? You don't just ship a bunch of frozen burger patties in and make it happen. They had to be close enough where they could get fresh ingredients trucked in and keep fresh stuff in the store, and that's part of why they've been so slow to expand because, if you're based in Southern California, getting fresh stuff to New Jersey is difficult. So I don't know if that means they have another distribution center. I just don't know that. But good for the folks in Tennessee. Lucky you.
Yeah, well, exactly. The folks in East Tennessee are going to get it. Okay, Justin wants to know, with Tobler's retirement, will Austin Prock's team have a co-crew chief again? I was told that the John Force Racing policy is to never make announcements about crew chiefs. You just wait to the test and you see who shows up, and those are the crew chiefs. They don't get into that game. I've been assured that we'll find out soon enough, but I'm kind of thinking the winning formula is having multiple brains working on different aspects of the car. We've kind of seen that.
Well, there's just so much to do right now that I think it takes more than one person. You can't one person to oversee everything and to make every decision and process all the information is next to impossible. You just need more than one person and no inside information. But it would not be the least bit surprising to me. You look at the personnel that JFR has over there for them to just make an internal promotion. I think that they have got plenty of people over there that have been around the system long enough, that understand, that are sharp enough, that they're ready to take the step up to the next level. And again, I'm not sharing inside information, but it wouldn't surprise me if that's the direction they go. You know, kind of like what Guido did over at Ron Capps' joint. You know, he's got really good people inside that understand the system and understand what they're doing, and just, you know, take one of those and move them up and pile some more responsibility on them. And I think that's it. But it's gotten to the point these days, again, there's so much information to analyze and so many different aspects that it becomes next to impossible for one person to do it. There just isn't enough time. You know, I think if you were, you know, 2.5 or 3 hours between runs, yeah, sure, somebody can go through. But when you've got one guy that's trying to analyze, do we need to make any changes with the engine? Do we need to, and then you've got a guy trying to analyze, what about the clutch? Do we need to make any changes to the clutch? Do we need, and then somebody else looking at, you know, well, what about, do we have the right size tires on the thing? Do we have, there's just so much information to be analyzed. There isn't enough time for one person to do it. I don't care how fast you are or how smart you are.
Exactly. Wayne saying they will. Austin gave out a lot of hints during his WFO interview, and he really did. For those of you that didn't see it, that's why the archive is there. And many of our videos, honestly, most of our videos get the large majority of their plays after the fact. People just kind of going through YouTube or going through the WFO Radio website or mobile app and go back and check out Austin's interview, because he gave some hints. We'll see if they turn out to be exactly true or whatever. But that's what these interviews are there for. Spence says, gee, if there was only a prominent pro stock motorcycle racer looking for war to hire. Yeah, I'm sure there's that, but you'll just have to wait till next week. Bring them further east, young. Yeah, everybody loves In and Out. Now, I don't know where exactly in Tennessee, so I don't know if it's going to be Thunder Valley. Like, that's very East Tennessee, but we'll see. But yeah, everybody loves In and Out, and everybody loves Angel. Mike wants to know about Angel. Do we have any news about her getting a ride? I haven't seen any, but she's been very active on social media, which makes me think good things.
Yeah, I haven't seen anything either, and I haven't communicated directly with her. I could probably reach out to her when I get back in the States next week, but I don't know anything. I know that she very much wants to, because she feels like she didn't perform at her highest level. And I don't think that she wants to leave a career like that. I think she wants an opportunity to come back and show people that she is capable of performing at a higher level than what she did the last year or two. And I think everybody that knows her knows that, right? Every athlete in any sport gets into a little bit of a mini slump here or there. And you know, you kind of got to battle your way out of it. But you know, we are in a performance-based business, and you perform, you get an opportunity. You perform. If you don't perform, then oftentimes you end up separating from the situation that you're in.
Yeah, Corey Savoy, Jerry's bro, great guy, except for the Houston Astros thing. Please explain that most pro stock motorcycle racers pay for their ride and are not paid riders. And that's, you know, like, are these jobs that are being handed out to the most qualified person? Or does the person who can go and put together a program and find some money, or has a successful business and loves this deal, are they able to get into a ride? It's a combination of many of these things. But I would say, you know, I don't know that most of the riders are going out and stroking a check to get on a bike. There's not that many super quality bikes out there, but it's a combination.
Well, most of the riders own their own teams. I think, you know, if you sat down and broke down the numbers, right, most of the riders own their own teams. Are there some that bring some kind of financial wherewithal to the table? Absolutely there are, certainly. But most of them, I mean, you know, you look at the Smiths, you look at Ryan Ayler, you look at Corey Reed, you look at most of the riders out there, you know, Jerry Savoy is another perfect example, own the team. And, you know, the second rider, it's different situation, you know, different teams. But I think if you did the math, you'd find out that the majority are actually the owner that rides the bike.
Well, and that's the case with most drag racers, period. You know, like Ron Capps, the Ron Capps, Robert Height model of being a crew guy and getting the finger point, like get in the cockpit in the old days. You know, the other guy got arrested or he couldn't show up or whatever the deal was. Now you're in and it's the Wally Pipp story and now you're the driver. We used to hear about that way back in the day. Not so much anymore. It's who can find the money, who can stand out on social media. I think about Leah's career and how she got to where she wanted to be through grit and determination, and certainly a lot of heartbreak along the way. There is no one road to where you want to be. But if you love drag racing, it's all good stuff. It's all fun. All right, let's move over to, I want to talk funny car for a second, because I felt like last year was maybe the best year of funny car racing we'd ever seen. In the end, Robert and Caps, and you had Hagan, of course, and Tasca. 3 out of those 4 I fully expect to be at full power. Again, the Bob Tasca situation, losing Neff, losing Schaefer, losing a bunch of guys. He's got to rebuild. They're working on rebuilding, but that's an X factor for me, I wonder.
Well, Aaron Brooks is a sharp guy, and I think Bob Tasca's got something to prove. And I believe that, you know, his instruction to Aaron is going to be, you know, look, I'm not counting how many pistons get burned. Get us down there and let's make this happen. Remember, when Alan Johnson started the Al-Anabi deal and had a funny car, he hired Aaron Brooks. Aaron Brooks is a really sharp guy, and even though the last few years he hasn't been in a full-time position, he's been helping people out here and there, but you couldn't tell me, you can't name a car that Aaron has been helping that didn't improve and didn't run better. And I think putting him in a position where he's got carte blanche, where he has the budget to have the parts that he wants, the things that he needs, to go testing when he needs to do what needs to be done to run at a championship level. I'm certainly not saying that Bob's going to win 8 races to win the championship, but don't be the least bit surprised if Bob is in the middle of the mix again. I thought it was pretty interesting, you know, the funny car deal. You look at beginning of the year to the end of the year, I think you look at the first 8 races of the season, and most people figured this is going to be Hagan and or Height, period. And then everybody else. And then Bob jumped up in the middle of the year and stepped up big, and obviously Ron did what he did and ended up winning the championship. But I think, you know, you look at over the course of the year, and it really was a big learning curve for some of the guys. But at the beginning of the year, I mean, if I'm not mistaken, the first 5 races went 2 to Height and 2 to Hagan, and everybody else was just kind of there. You know, they were there getting run over by the two show-offs.
Chase is out there. Chase Freeman, of course. Is there another Chase? Is it time for Gainesville yet? Says Chase. Yeah, I'm sure they're
almost.
Yeah, it's easy for you to say that, Chase. Now you get to fly in, right? Chase got a big promotion, from what I understand. Someone that I'll be watching.
Did Chase get his own plane? Because if he did, I'm going to work for Elite.
Yeah, I don't know if he got his own plane, but I know that I think he's off the road. Congratulations, Chase. Big thing. Got engaged. He's off the road. Oh my gosh. This guy is looking forward to 2023. Certainly. Someone that I'm looking forward to watching, though, and I wonder about this, just to pick a name out of the, like, obviously Caps, Height, Hagan, you know, even Tasca Force. We know what's up with Pedregon, Cruz. Alexis was running real well at the end of the year. Kind of got her, you know, driver issues out of the way that she had mid-year with some red lights, et cetera, and so on. But Tim Wilkerson, man, Tim Wilkerson. First of all, some big things coming for Wilkerson. And the Clay Milliken, Rick Ware situation educated me a lot on the importance of new and fresh parts and pieces and running in that style. And I don't know, I think Tim Wilkerson, I want this to be the year that Tim Wilkerson is in the mix and doesn't finish 9th, because he had a very fast hot rod at times last year.
He definitely did. And, you know, Tim has always run the car a little bit on the conservative side with the budget that he has. That was pretty much a constraint. And also, he's a guy that just hates to tear stuff up, hates it. You know, there are a few crew chiefs out there that understand, you know, hey, look, we're going for this every time it goes down a racetrack, and we understand that there's going to be times when we hurt some parts making it happen. We're okay with that. Tim's not that guy. Tim's a guy that when the conditions come to him can certainly make the thing go down the racetrack in a hurry, but he's not a guy that's willing to push so hard that, you know, he chances Tim's not a guy that just pencils into his budget, we're going to have 6 big explosions this year. So he's always run a little bit on the conservative side. Will that change coming in? I don't know. As you mentioned, there's going to be some news, or at least I'm hearing that there's going to be some news coming from Tim Wilkerson. Will that change, his focus? I'm not sure. I'm not sure Tim can change who he is, just, the way that he does. But it's very possible that Tim is going to have some outside influence. Not necessarily that comes in and takes over the team, but somebody that comes by and just gives them a little nudge every once in a while, and that I think would be good, because every once in a while I think, if you're too conservative, you need somebody to go, hey, come on, give it a little bit more. On the other hand, we've seen crew chiefs out there that are too aggressive, that need somebody to come in every once in a while, pull the reins back, go, look, hey, whoa. Okay, let's go down the racetrack 5 times in a row instead of going down 1 out of 5, but telling everybody, wow, look how good the one was. So, there's always that magical balance, and that's part of why, as you mentioned, the co-crew chief thing, it always seems to work better when you've got one crew chief who's a hold my beer and watch this guy, and you've got one who is much more on the conservative side, because both of them need a little bit of a tug one direction or the other, and that seems to be the combination that works the best.
If you do what you've always done, you'll get the results you've always gotten.
Right. That's why David Grubnick shouldn't change anything.
Won't change anything. Grubnick. Got a good audience out there today. I want to remind everybody about Patreon. Join our Patreon page. I'll be telling you a little bit more about that after we finish with Alan Reinhart. Alan, what's going on? Okay, with Erica's car, I don't imagine that they're going to do much of anything, right? They felt great. They're going to test. They're going to be ready. Chase can say out there. But if you're KB Titan Racing Engines, you're changing everything, including bringing in new people, new personalities, new engine builders, new brain power. It's a reorganization. There's no real way to do that without just going through a process. So I'd imagine Greg has been very confident and very happy about that big announcement. But KB Titan, there's a lot of work that goes along with all of that. So I would imagine that they're very busy over there at KB Titan.
Yeah, the one thing, Chase, if you're still there, tell us, is Erica finally going to get a new car? Or is she just going to know, you're not prying this one away from me no matter what, but are they finally going to put Erica in a new car and then get out there and go testing? Because that thing is now, 4 or 5 years old, and it certainly, I'm not saying it's slow, but there comes a time when you're going to have to put together a new pipe. I don't expect to see any struggle whatsoever from the KB Titan guys. I think that everybody that's over there that's going to be part of the new mix is smart enough to understand. I think Greg is going to look at, Mike Smith and look at, sorry, I keep hearing noise, but I don't see cars going by, and Stevie Johns, and understand these guys know something. They can teach me something. And I think for all the success that they had over there at Titan, that both Mike and are going to go into KB understanding these guys can teach me something. And I think both have exactly the same mission. We need to knock Elite down a peg or two, and we're not going to do that by butting heads. We're going to do that by joining forces and by having an open mind. And I would not imagine that dyno has been, I don't imagine that dyno's been 24 hours without having something on it since we left Pomona. And I don't expect it to happen until it's time to leave for Gainesville, because I think they're going to be integrating ideas. Some are going to work and some are not. But I believe, from what I know of the people and the personalities there, that they are all open to the point of, let's try what you're doing, and then let's mix that in with what I'm doing. And again, some of it's going to work, some of it's not. But the only way you're going to know is to get out there and do it. And they got a lot of really smart people out there. They've got plenty of resources, plenty of funding behind them, plenty of whatever there's not going to be a, gee, can we afford to order another one of those? It's going to be, send me 3 of them, because we're going to use up 2 of them before we're ready to go racing. So I expect to see big things out of that merger. I really do.
I'm excited about it. Mark Stuckseth, our Elite Motorsports insider, says that E's new car will be ready before Indy. So I guess the answer is that
Gainesville is before Indy. I mean, come on.
She lost the new car to Bo, I think, is what happened, because Bo seemed to take a liking to it, and she obviously loves her car. Billy Carroll asks about when the package is so tight in Pro Stock, why don't we see more engine attrition? You'd think there would be more. I don't know. I thought we saw a lot at the start of last year. I thought it's just that there's usually not fire and, explosive, the smoke leaving the engine, but that doesn't mean they didn't tear one up in Pro Stock.
The smoke sure left Erica's engine in Bristol last year.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, there was some attrition. Again, you don't see it as much. I mean, oftentimes attrition in Pro Stock is when the thing is down a mile an hour. And you get back and you realize that, okay, hey, it's leaking so much on this cylinder, or it's got, and that's not something you fix at the racetrack. So you swing the motor and you put a new one in, and then you go back to the shop and fix it. The catastrophic failures, you're never going to see a ton of those in Pro Stock like you do in the fuel categories. But there still is, there was plenty of attrition last year in Pro Stock.
Yeah, he says, to be clear, I don't want to see any, especially this year. And I agree. Mighty Mac out there, he's working on his next video. Great to see everybody checking in on WFO. We already, just Pro Stock wise, looking at the, the drivers that are looking to improve. Aaron Stanfield, right? Finished third in the points, had a great year, did run into a string of 40 reaction times. That is what I believe ultimately kind of sunk his battleship and took him out of championship contention. But the ones that you lose by it wasn't a tight margin, Erica dominated, but he learned a lot from that year. I really expect Aaron Stanfield to be back, back with a vengeance, with another year of experience under his belt racing Pro Stock. Like, I'm watching Aaron Stanfield.
I think so too. I also think that, I think Bo Butner, I'm expecting to see some better things out of him. He certainly struggled a little bit with the driving, had himself a really good car, but wasn't necessarily performing at a championship level, and I don't think I'm saying anything that he wouldn't tell you himself. I think that he's looking forward to getting back out there and getting a little redemption. I can't believe the year that McGahey's had. And yes, Erica ran over everybody, and she didn't leave a whole lot of crumbs for anybody else. And some of them that she did, her elite teammates certainly picked up. But I'm really surprised that the McGaheys didn't park in the winner's circle once or twice. And I think they're coming back out with a chip on their shoulder, because I think they've got good power. I think that, Chris ended up down a little bit of a rabbit hole with a race car that he was sure was going to be better, and then never ended up being. And then kind of got lost in the middle out there someplace. But I really expect to see the McGaheys make a bit of a bigger splash out here this year.
Well, I hope so.
Sounds like we're finally ready to go racing again here.
Are we going to see cars come flying by you in the background? Is that what we're going to?
Well, you're definitely going to hear them. I don't know. Can you see them back there?
Yeah, no, we can. We can see them. We'll get the tour from you right at the end, just in case the Wi-Fi craps out. We'll get the tour from you at the very end of the deal. What I would like to see the McGaheys do, and I understand that drag racing is their secondary business, right? They're like oil field, machine shop services, doing a lot of great and big things. Harlow Salmons and Southwest is kind of like inside of all of that. But when you've got Elite with 8 cars, and you got KB Titan with like 7 cars, and you've got 2 cars and occasionally a 3rd car, it's a numbers game with those guys. I would love to see them expand and try to partner with some of these other folks that are, out there wanting to run Pro Stock, but more than just an occasional part-timer. Lester was letting John Gadosh use their power for a while, but John was part-time, and so it wasn't able to help the whole team. Here we go. That's awesome. How many spectators, Alan? Are there any spectators there? Can a regular person just go out and pay to watch drag racing there, or is this like a private thing?
No, absolutely. There are not a ton, but again, this is kind of a midweek test and tune, right? You go to whatever your local NHRA track is, and Bahrain International Circuit is part of the NHRA worldwide family. Any Friday or any Wednesday test and tune at your local track, spectators are certainly welcome. They don't pack the house as a general rule, but there are a few here. When I was out wandering around earlier, there are definitely a few cars in the parking lot and a few people in the stands. It is a chilly evening to be sitting outside watching drag racing tonight. You got to be pretty hardcore to do it.
All right, so a couple weeks away, big news, all kinds of stuff, big shows, Parade of Champions, all that. Reinhart in Bahrain. How long are you going to be there, Al?
I'm actually coming home. I will be home Sunday afternoon.
Okay, so we're back on normal schedule next week. You'll be in Tucson, Arizona.
I will be in the United States.
Which way do you go? Like, did you straight there from where?
Actually, coming here, I went Tucson, Dallas, London, and then Bahrain. Going home, I'm going from Bahrain to London, and then nonstop to Phoenix. That's a long flight, and then my little hop from Phoenix to Tucson.
You're doing London to Phoenix?
London to Phoenix.
That's crazy.
I hope I don't end up in 32E.
Oh my gosh, like right.
Sitting between two linebackers.
Exactly. Yeah, I don't think so. All right, let's do the tour, Alan. If we were to get cut off, I'll give it a chance to catch up. But
we tried this beforehand, and we lost signal a little bit when I walked out the door, but it came back on when I walked in. So I'm not sure. Maybe the Wi-Fi. They've got pretty thick glass here, so you don't get buried inside. But anyway, this is one of the VIP suites, and they're here. They can be had. There's some catering back there, and if I want a snack or want something. One of the cool things about it is the motion sensor. Okay, so see how dark it is over here?
Yes.
And I walk over and the lights come on, and then I walk over and the lights come on.
Oh, man, that's beautiful.
There's an opportunity, you can sit back here and watch it on TV and be a little away from it if you want, or you can open the door and go out on the porch.
That is a beautiful suite. Now, does that have a view of the Formula One track as well, or that's just drag racing?
Well, sort of. Hang on. This is obviously trackside. Now, right on the other side of the drag strip, you can see all the red lights on top of the light poles. That's the Formula One track. So there's kind of a mini backstretch right on the other side of the drag strip. There's one of the short chutes, and then you look up here, and there's like turn 5 and turn 7 and turn 8, and they go up that hill and they come down the hill, and there's a hairpin over here. But I'm gonna wait until these cars are going by. They're burning out down here. I'm afraid if I close the door, we'll lose the signal. If we do, I'll come right back.
Okay. Yeah, no, you're doing good so far. Look at that. That's beautiful. What a great track under the lights.
Wish I could zoom in, but I don't know how to do that.
Yeah, don't do it. Good.
You can probably do it. I'm just not smart enough. Oh, the dragster coming up in the near lane. That's Khaled Al-Belushi's son.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Way to go, Khaled. Bringing in the young demographic. But you can tell it's a very as first class as it gets with their.
I don't know if you saw the scoreboard or not, but they run a 450 to the 8th category out here is one of their regular classes, and he just went 449.6.
Oh, right. Nice. So, 450 to the 8th. Perfect.
Yeah.
Very well lit. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, they have, I believe he said 496 Musco light towers.
Oh my gosh.
Now that's obviously for the Formula One track as well, but yeah, light is not an issue here.
Exactly. Vic Wood out there, Happy New Year, Hall of Famer. Vic, welcome. Thank you, Vic. For Terry Haddock, Sun Licensing, Extreme Raceway, and the Nostalgia Funny Car. I don't know if you've seen McKeelan's post, but he's doing big burnouts. I think, we know this. Drag racing, though, it's in an interesting spot right now. Like, the next generation is starting to take over. You saw Khaled's son out there, Haddock's kid, like all these young people, like Autumn High, they're now grown enough that they want to get in, and they're getting in, and you're not stopping them.
Well, it's perpetual, right? I mean, the Forest Girls, we've seen it throughout the course of the years. Steve Torrence is a second-generation drag racer. His dad didn't race Top Fuel before he did, but his dad introduced him to the sport. You look at Chris McGahey, Mason McGahey, right? Chris grew up watching his dad started in juniors, ended up in pro stock. His son started in juniors, ended up in pro stock. There are just so many out there. Erica first was going to the drag strip watching her dad race. He didn't race at a pro level, but he introduced her to the sport. I mean, that's been going on as long as it's been, as long as there's been drag racing. How far do you want to go? The Warner twins, Dan Fletcher. From top to bottom, you can find the next generation. So I'm just sorry we had so much downtime. They had an issue on the track just before we got started, and I was expecting them to be running a little quicker, but apparently the cleanup took a little longer than I thought it would.
I think it worked out perfectly, Alan, honestly, because we got our conversation in, and now we're hearing car sound effects and getting all excited. Everybody out there is getting very excited about what's going on with, they like your camera work even. They like your camera work. That's awesome to hear. Some race cars, says Fast Eddie, and I totally agree, Fast Eddie. Great stuff. Let's see. Ron Cap's mom and dad both raced. Exactly, says Timmy out there. Perfect example. Good stuff. All right, Alan, great job as usual. Any final thoughts? Anything you want to say, put out there that I didn't ask you about?
No, I think we covered most of it. I just, they extended the winter break, and I couldn't wait that long, so I had to find some place where there was going to be race cars on the track, and if that means I had to fly to Bahrain, then here I am. But no, it's been just a wonderful visit, and everybody's been so welcoming and so gracious, and it's been my pleasure to come over here and spend some time and see the facility. I was, as Captain Marin mentioned, came over here, and I believe it was 2011 with the Summit boys when they were on one of the military appreciation tours, and we stopped at the Navy base here and had an opportunity to swing by the racetrack, just kind of check it out a little bit. But being able to be here for a few days and get the entire lay of the land, and have gotten, chances to tour basically everything. One of the things I didn't know, did you know this? Bell helmets manufactured here at the Bahrain International Circuit. Their facility is on property here. And as I understand it, if you have a car helmet, there's a better than even money chance that it came from here, whether you're racing in Super Gas or in Formula One. The motorcycle helmets, I believe, are put together someplace else, but they have a huge manufacturing facility right here, literally on the Bahrain International Circuit. It's a drifting track, go-kart track, and they have a open air auditorium. They're doing concerts here, doing other things. They keep the place busy, and the World Dart Championships are going to take place this weekend at the Bahrain International Circuit.
Get your Ted Lasso on. I like it. I like it. On that note, super track, super facilities, doing all kinds of stuff. There was some news that came out, I think it was yesterday, about ZMAX Dragway in Chicagoland hosting Supercross playoff races, and they are going to put, jumps and dirt all over the track. But also schedule-wise, I think it's right before our second national over there at Charlotte. Do you have any concerns that they will be able to get all of that Supercross dirt off of our drag strips before our countdown race?
No, they have a vacuum.
Got it.
No, none whatsoever. I mean, they've been doing that for 100 years. The World of Outlaws used to run on the Topeka drag strip.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, there have been drag strips that have put enough dirt out to have tractor pulls on the drag strip. No concern whatsoever. If nothing else, the guys at Speedway Motorsports have figured out how to pick up dirt. I mean, look what they did at Charlotte. So,
right. Bristol.
No, I don't see any issue with that whatsoever.
I'm
sure there are some people that would suggest they should cover up 2 lanes with dirt and just leave it that way.
Well, they invested a bunch of money in some sort of equipment that picks up dirt, and they just want to find more ways to use it. And so, bring these Supercross guys in, let's spread dirt all over the drag strip at ZMAX. All right, Alan, great job as usual. Happy New Year once again for the last time, because we are off and running in 2023. Enjoy your time over there in Bahrain. Please say hello to anybody that might care. And have fun. Enjoy yourself. Keep tweeting.
Yeah, I will certainly do it. It has been a pleasure to be here and hang out with the guys, and certainly appreciate everybody that invited me and has made me feel so welcome. So looking forward to a few more days here, and then looking forward to getting home. We'll talk to you next week.
Awesome. Way to go, Alan. Be good. Talk next week. There he goes. The voice of the NHRA, Alan Reinhart, joins us each week right here on WFO Radio. All right, I got the question. How about an Attention in the Pits video from there? Yeah, I guess we would have to go and find some cool cars and do it. Speaking of which, there is a new Attention in the Pits video that gets dropped each Tuesday. In case you hadn't figured that out, it's a Tuesday thing, Attention in the Pits. We've been going through the off season, and right now there is one with a 1990 Dodge Caravan. It's Mr. Howell's machine, and it's a turbocharged 4-cylinder Dodge Caravan that dropped on NHRA's YouTube and social media earlier in the day. And so I tweeted, I was like, hey, it would be cool to see the outtakes video of that, because that one was a pretty crazy situation that we were trying to like work through. And I just kind of tagged on to NHRA's tweet like, hey, can we see the outtakes? And NHRA's social media team has responded, should we really tweet it out? And so I figured I'd ask the audience. So what do you think, guys? Do you want to see an outtake of the stuff that happens when we try to capture Attention in the Pits videos? Just put it up in the chat section. Let's hear what you say. Let's do a flash poll right now, and I will get back to the NHRA social media thing. Do you want to see how the sausage gets made? Do you want to see the behind-the-scenes failure? Do you want to see something that is going to inevitably convince you that we are imperfect, that sometimes things happen that enable us to not actually be perfect? And so I'm asking you this question, flash poll right now. You have 10 seconds to put your answer, yes or no, into the chat section, and then I will get back to social media Nikki from NHRA, and maybe she will post the outtake. Right? Outtakes, blooper reel, the end of Cannonball Run, these bleeds up this nose. Everybody loves that kind of stuff. Maybe we should share some of that from Attention in the Pits. This is time for your flash poll. Let's see what everybody else has to say. The Mighty Mac is out there. Dirtworks crew, they'll be out. Spence is out there. Norwalk had a tractor pull, right? That's what Vic just mentioned. The pits are wow. Tractor pulls in Norwalk. Do you like air shows? Have you seen air shows? I have, and I do. I like air shows. You know, we got one in Fort Lauderdale, huge air show, but they're usually happening when the drag racing is happening. So I choose the drag racing. Timmy Mack says he wants to see outtakes. Jim Essex says he wants to see an outtake. Yes, yes, yes. A lot of blooper reel. Yes. Wayne says, heck yes. Attention in the Pits. You should be subscribed to NHRA's YouTube channel and ours. Okay. We haven't gotten a no yet. No no's. Everybody's saying yes. It's all yes. Yes, sure. Let's see the outtake. Mark Banks, yes. Yeppers, I'm on board. Let's see those outtakes. All right, I'm going to signal NHRA's social media team to release the outtakes. Release the outtakes. It's really just one outtake. I don't want to tell you exactly what happened. We'll talk about it maybe tomorrow with Doug Gordon. Everybody wants outtakes. All right, the flash poll is closed. Angel says, is it time for NHRA to look at adjusting engine specs to allow other engines in to perform in Pro Stock? Well, Alan Reinhart has reported that a Ford is on the way this year. And what other engines would you want? Like, what do you mean? Jimmy's like, no, I don't want to see the outtake. Thank you, Jimmy. That makes it a real poll. It's like one of those, you know, elections in Russia where there's, 999,000 to 1 to retain. Outtakes, always. I love behind the scenes in every way. Everybody loves it. Okay, good deal. Hey, everybody. Before we move on, I want to tell you about WFO Patreon. It is January, and we have a yearly membership thing. You don't have to join a yearly membership, but it's the easiest and best way. And so if you would like to join our Patreon behind-the-scenes stuff, let me pitch you a little bit. And I know what you're thinking. Like, why would I become a member of WFO's Patreon? Well, the answer is, you get different and unique content. You support the show. I'm putting the link in the chat section right now. But we're going to do like it's like public television. If you join for a year in January, you will get one of these awesome WFO crew t-shirts that I will send to you at my own expense. You will get decals. You will get the WFO patch. And you will get, where is it? The WFO Patreon pin that everybody loves the most. That's right. It's like old school NHRA membership. I brought it back, though, with WFO stuff, though. The Patreon pin. You get a pin. You get a patch. You get a decal. You get a shirt. I send it all out, but you got to sign up for a year. And I think it's, it's like a little over $100. but you support WFO and you support everything we're doing, and you might as well go there, WFOradio.com, and you can get to the Patreon page or patreon.com/WFO radio. And look at Wayne. He says, join us Patreons. We got 67 some odd, bouncing between 70, 67. It changes, it fluctuates. People are coming and going. But what are we going to do for you? Well, we're going to do more and unique content, and we're going to delve into pro stock, right? We're going to hear it from Heiner. Michael Heiner has agreed to come on a regular basis, not just a one-hit deal, on a regular basis, and answer questions about pro stock for the Patreons behind the scenes. How about that? So go to patreon.com/WFO radio. Monica says, join. Fun times there. You get access to the Ignition Show broadcast to participate in the chat section while we do Ignition. All kinds of fun stuff. Pete, yeah, let's see the outtakes. Excellent stuff. Let me tell you about Marvin Rodak. Coffee, hot sauce, spice rub, grills, tools, tips, recipes, information. RodaxCoffeeandGrills.com is the website. I always say .com for everybody because chances are you're on the web. Marvin is up at 4 a.m. roasting coffee every day in Fort Worth, Texas. He is a diehard supporter of drag racing. He is a sponsor of the A Field at Funny Car Chaos. He is a sponsor of Nitro Joe Morrison, and he is a sponsor for over 10 years here on WFO Radio. You want to support the show? You don't want to become a Patreon? That's fine. Just order some coffee from Marvin. But it's not because you want to support the show. It's because you want great coffee. It's as good as it gets from all around the world. Really have loved it. Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School. Saw Chad Green's daughter went there, like next generation racers coming up through Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School. But you don't have to want to get your alcohol funny car license or your Super Comp Super Gas license to go and have a great interaction with Frank Hawley. They have a program called the Dragster Adventure that travels around the country with dragsters. You can drive a dragster, show up with just the clothes on your back. I think that's important. Like, what do I have to do? What I got to do? You got to do nothing. You just show up and they handle everything else. And of course, it started at $399. It's a great gift. It's a great team building corporate experience. They can even set up a race. That's a little bit of an extra charge. But in 2023, be sure to go to Frank Hawley's Drag Racing School and enjoy. Samtech.edu, they are back to their pre-pandemic enrollment numbers. People are getting involved. What does this country need? What can you do to support our country? What can you do to be a great patriot in the United States of America? And I know you probably think it's kind of funny that I take this angle, right? Well, what can you do? Well, you can join the service. You can join the military. You can become a policeman, a firefighter. You can become a school teacher. You can become a paramedic. You can work in an ER. These are all vital things that help our society, our civilization, and our country. But something else that we need, we got to have it, are qualified machinists, workers who can build a racing engine, who can program a CNC machine. They are vital to the future of our country. And, we don't really talk about that a lot. Most people kind of shy away from that kind of talk. Like, why should I get into a career? Because it's necessary. We need you. But our country does need you. We got all this stuff that we're going to be building. We've got all these things that are happening, jobs that are coming back, microchips, all that. CNC machinists and regular machinists are absolutely vital. And who gets that education started? It's samtech.edu. So call Brian Massengill. Tell him you heard about it on WFO. Where's Brian? Heard it on WFO. I'm interested in your classes. They're approved to train veterans under the GI Bill. Check them out. Bernie Speed Shop, of course. I'm working on sending an agent to Bernie's maybe next week. So we'll let you know on that. Do a little shooting around there. Maybe even get Josh Hart on the show. Bernie's.com. American Classic Horsepower. If you want to buy or sell a classic muscle car, reach out to Bernie's and go check out their inventory just for fun. Little window shopping. Phillips-Connect.com. Of course, the guys at Phillips. Reaching out to people with fleets of trucks. Is that you? Are you connected? Do you work for someone who's got a fleet of trucks? Reach out to me, Joe, at WFOradio.com, and we'll put you together with the folks at Phillips-Connect. Smart trailer technology gets it there on time, gets it there safely by monitoring. And it's one of the old ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure type things. Fog it. This is something that anybody can buy right now. It is a high-performance engine protection by inhibiting microscopic rust. It works on firearms very, very well on firearms and countless other products, but it was designed by Gary Stinnett for high-performance racing engines. And there is no reason that every bracket racer, anybody who puts their car away after a night of racing and who spent a considerable amount of money on the internals of your engine, you need this product. Simple as that. They've got a YouTube page, YouTube channel with, they just started. They were like at 11 subs this morning, and we're trying to push that number up. So go to Foggit, follow all their stuff. Certainly. FTI performance transmissions and torque converters, power glides, 3 speeds for high horsepower. All you got to do is scan some of the winning cars out there. Low 6-second top sportsman car, Jimmy Lewis out there in Texas. What do I notice as we're getting ready to talk to him? FTI. They're going to redo your transmissions. If you're going to go through your stuff before the season starts, you're kind of behind a little bit. I will be calling the action at the Southeastern Division race at Orlando Speed World coming up. What is this? Oh, here we go. The temperature. Bahrain. We should have done this sooner, says Alan Reinhart. The temp, everything. What I'm trying to do is download it so I can expand it. 58.5 degrees, 80% humidity. Wind speed 17 miles per hour. Dew point 52.48 degrees. Air density with water vapor 100%. Density altitude 57 feet. 57 feet. So there you go. Total Seal piston rings. I'm farming out our Total Seal advertising this week to promote the Engine Performance Expo. And I would love for you guys to go to YouTube. I know you're doing a lot of stuff on YouTube today. You're subscribing to a lot of different things, but this one is important. The Engine Performance Expo is January 13th and 14th. That's Friday and Saturday. Jason Lyon going to be there. Ben Strader going to be there. Greg and Aaron Stanfield are going to participate. I don't know if they're going to be in Johnson City, but they're going to be on a live stream maybe. But a lot of vital information that you can use even if you're not an engine builder. How many times, those of you who have got a high-performance racing engine, you want to go talk to your engine guy, and, there's certain stuff you'd like to drop on them to talk about how to make your engine faster, more powerful, unlock the hidden horsepower. Well, that's what is being unveiled at the Engine Performance Expo, whether it be EFI tuning, whether it be fuel pressure. All these topics are discussed over basically a 6-hour live stream that is free, that you can get by the Engine Performance Expo YouTube channel. And Total Seal Piston Rings, one of the founding members. You saw Hartford, our holiday party. Happy birthday, Amber Hartford, by the way. And Matt had his birthday just a couple of days ago. They have changed the entire philosophy around sharing information in high performance. They just put it all out there. We are going to share. Like, remember who the guy was that revealed a lot of the secrets of Pro Stock with us? It was Hartford with the Total Seal team, because he recognizes that when you keep something secret, people don't know about it. Isn't that amazing? And then they want to know about something, and so they go find something to know about. If you're going to keep a secret from them, they're going to move on. They're curious. You shut them down. They go find something else to learn about. Because a lot of people, believe it or not, just want to learn and improve their knowledge and experience new things. And that's what Total Seal is doing. And so the day that a Hidden Horsepower podcast listener or an Engine Performance Expo viewer is out there curious, learning something, decides he's going to build an engine, where's he going to buy his parts? It's a service. And I think they're doing a great job. So thanks to Total Seal. We'll see you guys in a couple days at the Engine Performance Expo. Want to remind everybody, you can always get free stickers. WFO, P.O. Box 848-353, Pembroke Pines, Florida, 33084. The concept of a self-addressed stamped envelope is lost on some people. You got to fill it out to yourself. Put that in another envelope with a stamp on it. Send that to me. I open the one to me, find yours, put the stickers in there, and just put it in my mailbox. because you've done all the work and you put the stamp on there. And you can get some free WFO radio stickers. I want you to feel them and love them. And obviously, here's one on Hartford's car, Joe Aerosmith's car. Joe Aerosmith. I know he's not watching, but man, this guy built a lifelike model of the USS Arizona. The thing is painted. It's incredible. He was showing it off on his Facebook page. We got a lot of WFO merch as well. All right, let's see if I've done a good enough job stalling you for final comments before we get up on out of here. What time, everybody, is Doug Gordon coming on tomorrow? That's the question. Doug Gordon, Lucas Oil, Top Alcohol Funny Car Champ. What time tomorrow? The answer is 12 noon Eastern time. Doug Gordon going to come on. He's always throwing shots at me. Like, maybe this will get me on WFO. I had no idea that so many people want to come on the show for great reasons. All joking aside, Doug is going to be on, and we begin our Parade of Champions. Jeremy Hancock going to be on the show on Thursday. That's going to be pre-recorded, but I expect you all to be watching. I will be traveling next week, Reinhart, but then Wednesday, and the 18th, White Alligator Racing, announcing their drivers for 2023. Tim Kalungian, Jerry Savoy, Chase Van Zandt, and Driver X. All going to be on the show. The 19th, Jimmy Hidalgo Jr. and Bob Locke, 2 in a day on the 19th. We got our Stock Eliminator World Champ. We got our Super Gas World Champ, all queued up. This is what's happening. What else? The week of the 23rd and the 24th, huge stuff. Can't tell you about it. Not yet. All right, let's see what everybody says. Let's see what they say. We left off with Monica talking about how great the Patreons are. Steve Renwald, you can wear the WFO Patreon pledge pin on your uniform. We haven't got to the WFO Patreon uniforms just yet, but we're getting there. Jim Essex, Michael Heiner. Everybody loves Michael Heiner. And Michael Heiner says, I'll come on the Patreon show. It's like, Michael, the Patreon people are paying, and I don't want to put you. No, I'm okay to do it. I'll come on multiple times. Let's talk pro stock. We'll ask and answer questions. So it's like behind the scenes pro stock stuff. What's that going to be like? We're getting the business going again. So I think we need to sign up. Yeah, I wish I knew who that was, but definitely sign up, sign on. Maybe you should give me a Top Fuel dragster. Yeah, exactly. Dodge, we knew the RPM restriction hurt the Dodge motors, for example, to include Ford adjust motor specs for optimization, power creation for the engine, says Angel. Yeah, this is about pro stock. And, that is an interesting debate that happens about the Dodges. And, Alan Przinski has even said that he doesn't think he needs it anymore. And they're not making those parts new anymore. Like, as far as I understand it, Alan Przinski has cornered the market on the Dodge stuff out there. I think he has got it all. And, if you give him 500 RPMs, what does that do to the rest of the category? Like, I don't know. It's an interesting discussion. Michael is good people. Yeah, everybody loves Heiner. That could be the name of the show. I'm working on the name of the show. Joe spends a lot of time on this for us. Help him out, says Jeff. Oh man, that looks like we're really shilling for it now. Wayne says, Angel M, yes, Hemi needs a bit of a break to be more competitive. I hear the block is heavy. I hear all these different things about the Dodges, but he's out there. How about this? Go buy an Alan Przinski t-shirt. Go get and support that team. What do they need? They need time and money. What do they need? They need 500 RPMs? Yeah, maybe. But what do they need? They need time and money. So help them out with that. We appreciate the work you do for the fans. Scott Purley. Thank you, Scott. I would love to join the Patreon. I have to ask your mom. Blake. WFO. Hi, guys, says Mike. My birthday's a couple days. I'm already 19 years old. Way to go, Jimmy. Happy 19. Mighty Mac, waiting excitingly for the Vance and Hines announcement and hoping for the small chance Andrew Hines hops back on a bike one more time. Alan posted a few weeks ago that he got the last Dodge built pro stock block, if I remember correctly. Yeah, he's got all the stuff. Joe, could you please give a shout out to my mom and ask her to let me become a Patreon? I can't do that to your mom. One thing Patreon doesn't, I would like to gift it to Blake. It doesn't allow you to do that. So shout out to Blake's mom. And, Blake, your parents have got a lot of stuff going on. So I'm not asking them for anything. I'm happy. I'm happy that they allow you to watch WFO every day. I'm thrilled about that. You know, we have multiple tiers, and yes, we're trying to make money with this show, but, you know, I love your parents, man. I'd rather them take that couple of bucks and bring you to a race. We got other, you know, everybody else. That's what Monica's for, right? Thank you, Monica. All right, guys, that's going to do it. Wow, hour and a half. Reinhart was in Bahrain. Yeah, somebody said I was looking casual today with my Tankersley shirt. I've got all these great racing shirts, right? Got to rep my Pontiac crowd. We need heads. Right. 12 noon. Doug Gordon. I have been working on my stuff, guys. I've been moving stuff in the garage. Project 78, Super Street. It's going to happen. The iconic photograph from Palm Beach International Raceway, now defunct and closed. Very sad. Now, granted, this past weekend, though, I did go to Disney. And I checked out the Star Wars rides for the very first time. What you might not know is I love Star Wars. And I also love Disney. It was a good time. And that was really the end of the holidays. The end of the holidays. Quick reminder. There are 2 Polynesians. Don't Uber to the wrong one. You have to listen to the Ignition Show to find out about that. But I had a great time at Disney, and they do a really good job. They do a great job of parting people from their money. Oh, so true. So true. All right, guys, remember 12 noon Eastern, Wednesday, the 11th of January. Doug Gordon going to be joining us. We're going to talk Top Alcohol Funny Car World Championship, the highs and the lows of the season. Thanks to Alan Reinhart. Thanks to all of you. Remember, the archive is open, and subscribe on YouTube. We need you. Put us over the top. WFO.